the tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
Let's dig a little deeper into this. Congressman Byron Donalds joining me right now. Sir, it's always wonderful to have you. You attended the President's Liberation Day announcement. I expected the turmoil in the markets that we're seeing as we reverse a trade regimen that always had put America at a disadvantage. Doesn't the world economic response indicate really how important and indispensable the United States is?
100% it does. Every country in the world wants access to the American market. That's because we've had the dominant economy in the world, really the last 100 years, if not longer than that. They all want to sell their product here. And when all these countries were developing themselves, whether it was Europe after World War II, or whether it was Asia, leaving developing nation, emerging nation status to actually having stable economies, they all did it on the back of the American economy. The byproduct of that has been a lot of jobs have gone overseas, manufacturing has gone overseas, and now those countries are a lot stronger. We're still the most dominant economy. That hasn't changed, but the gap's a lot closer. So we now need to leave that era where there were real trade imbalances that were to the detriment of American workers here in the United States to a much more fairer trading system, which is how you can have free trade going into the future.
I want to talk to you about these rogue judges. These judges have acted, in my view, unconstitutionally, unlawfully, and unethically. The Congress, under the Constitution, can check these rogue judges. When will the United States Congress act to rein in these judges who have clearly interfered with the last election by stripping President Trump of his constitutional Article 2 powers?
Look, what I think we need to do is actually remake the federal district court system. It's really become a mess. And you have situations where every outside group wants to go forum shop. In terms of your question, when is Congress going to do that? That's really a question for House leadership. You have many members on Capitol Hill, myself included, who want to see real changes to what happens with the federal district judge system. Because at the end of the day, the court system, the whole federal system, is supposed to judge the constitutionality, not the execution of whether it's something that the president does or an agency does when it's already under law. That's the problem we're having. And you're going to need both chambers to do it. And let me also add, if you make these changes, you need 60 votes in the Senate. You have to get Democrat senators in the current iteration of the Senate to go along with those changes. But we have to have a federal district judge system that only focuses on constitutionality, not trying to pick and choose how the executive actually executes their powers under the law.
Sure, and if you want to defund these courts, you can always do that through reconciliation. Then you don't need the obstructionist Democrats to do that. Look, I wanted to pick up on something you just mentioned, leadership. Speaking of House leadership, major endorsement to you from Speaker Mike Johnson for your gubernatorial run. You also got a standing ovation from the state legislature when you were there in Tallahassee. How goes the campaign?
Campaign's going great. You know, we announced the other day we raised $12 million in the first month. Obviously, we have the support of President Trump to be the next governor of Florida. We keep adding more and more endorsements and people to our campaign every single day. The outreach from people throughout the state has been phenomenal. So we're just building. We're going to get stronger. And we're really excited about the future prospects of becoming the next governor of Florida.
And I've heard something about something called the Cape Canaveral Act. My understanding is it's bipartisan. What can you tell me?
So, well, everybody in our state wants to do, we want the new NASA headquarters to be built in Cape Canaveral. It just makes sense. It's where so many rocket launches are happening now in our country, still out of Cape Canaveral. It's bipartisan legislation. Senator Scott, Senator Moody in the Senate sponsor it. In the House, it's myself, Mario Diaz-Balart, Jared Moskowitz, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We co-led it in the House. You have the entire Florida delegation is in agreement that the home for NASA going forward should not be Washington, D.C. It should be Cape Canaveral, Florida, and actually will put the agency in close connection with SpaceX, with Blue Origin, with L3, and so many other space and aerospace firms. It would be a boon to Florida, but it would be much more efficient to have NASA here in the state of Florida working with these organizations to make sure that the American space program continues to thrive into the future.